Justin? The levels look all right?
Everything.
Yeah, I think we're
we
good.
good?
You just
Are we good?
make sure to hold that mic up.
Okay.
You're
All right.
good.
Well,
You are getting better. The audio's going to sound.
Okay.
Your audio's been very easy to edit.
Okay.
Just been making my life great.
Okay.
it's been bad. No.
Okay.
All right. Well, yeah. Let's kick off episode 8 here. Welcome everyone to Tea with Fran. Fran, how are you today?
I feel great.
Good. And Justin, how are you?
I'm okay.
He's okay.
Always
It's okay.
I meant to say something to you earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to start introducing me, or should I introduce myself?
Oh, yeah. I guess you could say I'm your host, Kevin. Works.
You got to beep out my last name.
Okay. That's you just made me do one more thing. Editing. Yeah, I'll do it.
Make a note.
All right. You want the time code for that of when you said that?
People can't know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be famous. Well, here we are, episode 8. Last one, we got some good feedback on.
Good.
Someone reached out and said that the DMs part was very, very funny. I don't know if you remember when Justin
direct messages, and you thought it was sliding into their deepest
Thoughts.
memories or thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna change the culture on DMs. I'm sliding into your deep thoughts. And then the same individual, a good friend of mine, a good listener, was wondering about the intro song. And the intro song, we'll let the world know again, is Shady Grove by the Black Creek Band.
Yes.
And it's really nice, and that just eases us right into these conversations we're having.
It is.
So
We still need outro music too. We never did that. We have a couple things. We
there's
got
some
to take it
ideas.
to the chop shop.
And then one nice bit, I told this person I was going to definitely bring it up. It was, Fran reminds us that joy and happiness doesn't just exist. You do have to go out and kind of earn it. And that takes work and it takes practice. And it's reminding this person that they need to prioritize that.
Oh, I love it.
yeah.
Yes.
Just working towards
Yes.
that joy and happiness. And there's so many ways to do that. We've covered so many, but I
Yes.
was like, that I will definitely bring to the show and let you know, because
Good.
great feedback.
It is.
I like the thought of working towards joy and happiness, because I think this is something that I'm starting as of this week. It's funny because like resolutions are like, it's always like when a new year comes, what are your resolutions?
That's right. Yeah.
And for a long time, I've been saying I want to stop drinking.
Okay.
And I've always said 2023. So it was like back in like 2019, 2020, I thought to myself, like, I don't want to drink anymore. I want to be sober, because I've had issues when I am drunk of being an asshole. Like I have a bad personality and I'm toxic to be around. It's unfortunate because,
Yeah.
it's a reflection of me, even though, I'm intoxicated. It's still me. It's still Justin.
There's a couple listeners out there nodding along.
Yeah. And I've put off, and I've had it in my head, I'm 2023. I'm not going to drink anymore. But I've had someone, experience me being nasty in public, just, making comments to people, doing things that are just kind of like, egregious, not, what you want to be around.
Shitty
And,
Justin.
yeah, it's shitty me. And it's something, Fran, we've talked on the podcast. It's like, what is something that attracts you? And it's being nice. And what's something that it doesn't attract you? And it's being mean. It's being nasty. And
Yes.
that's who I was when I was drinking. Someone saw that, and I was around people they care about. And for that, they walked out of my life.
Yes.
And and I've had people, confront me on my problem when I am intoxicated. And I've always, and I know it. So like, why wait anymore? I'm just gonna make the change today. This week, to just better myself and live without alcohol.
Great.
So
That's wonderful.
yeah, I'm excited.
And it's easy to do?
I'm gonna find out. I think for me it will be, because I do have a good head on my shoulders. At least sober me does. Even when I quit smoking, that was fairly easy. I think alcohol, it's gonna be like when you're going out with people. I really, at the end of the day, I don't care though. Like, I can have a fun time, and like even when I do stand up, I don't like drinking when I go on stage. Like, I have my but it's like, oh, like when I'm going out with friends, why is it that I have to drink 10 beers? Why is it that I have to just in a sense just
Right.
be stubborn? And and like I have it when I'm drunk. It's my way, or like that's it. So I think I need to just shake that, because it's at the end of the day, it's a reflection of me. And I've done stuff even in in the past that like that's my reputation. That when you make a mistake like that, sometimes you have to dig yourself out of a ditch.
Yes.
And other times you leave an impression that can last. And it's unfortunate that I could think back. I could write a small book on the times that I've been shitty drinking. And when I think back to sober me, it's like I can't really I don't recall doing anything out of
you never would
the norm. So I'm gonna that's what I'm doing. So cheers to
yes,
cheers to not drinking.
Yeah, and here's
To,
water.
To water,
tea, to drinking tea with Fran.
To water, tea, and seltzer, and all the things that are much healthier than alcohol.
Yes.
As Justin's best friend, I definitely have seen him act this way and kind of recognize the signs. He's even done some things to myself and people I care about that was like I had to, kind of pull him to the side and say, like, you ever do that again, this is going to be a very huge issue. And I wonder if this, you've been saying the 2023 for a while.
Yeah.
You've known, like, in those instances, like, or thereafter, like, that was wrong. Like, alcohol makes me, a bad person or do bad things. I wonder if, like, you knew, like, you had to stop, but you just, let me just put it off a little further. Like, I'm going to start the diet next week. Let me just have one more piece of cake. I think that, like, you just wanted one more year of cake before kind of giving it up.
Yeah, but in that time, it's like, why? Like, I had that thought. I knew, like, I mean, how many times did I'd be, I'm like, oh my god, I'd have to hear about what I did. I'm like, I'm like, this sucks. But it's like, why didn't I make the change then, right? So I'm gonna keep dragging it out. I'm gonna hurt myself more. I'm gonna hurt others more.
Yes.
I'm just gonna make it go on longer than it needs to. So yeah, I'm just taking the action. I had a moment, and rightfully so. Like, I just need to be a better person. And at the end of the day, like, we are all just passing by. So the individuals that I pass by and been a complete asshole to, I can't apologize for that, but I'd rather pass by and leave a good impression.
Yes.
And have people remember me for me versus remembering, some douchebag. So
I'm curious as to whether or not you could have one drink and not drink anymore. See, it isn't one drink.
It's a lot. It's an excess of drinks. Yeah.
And why is it that you don't know when you've had enough and shouldn't go further?
If I still feel healthy, if I'm not like dizzy and falling over, I'm like, yeah, I gotta have another. Like, as long as I'm standing and like, I don't feel like I'm gonna puke, I would just, you keep drinking. And that's the definition of, I guess, binge drinking, right?
Is it the taste that you love?
No, it's the high. It's the buzz.
It's the
high.
It's the high.
Yeah.
It's the culture we live in.
It's the culture we live in. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
right.
It's Friday night. Let's go down to the bar and see friends. It's it's that. And, there's a lot of folks out there that aren't like stuck in that culture.
That's right.
But also there's a lot of people who are happy drunks.
I know. Really sweet and funny.
That for me, it's like that. Like, I have it in my blood to be an angry drunk. So like, that's where I know if I do it, I'm kind of doomed.
But you didn't know that you would be an angry drunk.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that until I started drink, which was, I mean, in my teens, essentially.
10 years
ago. And I think when I first started, it wasn't as like, I was like, I was, I guess, nicer, or maybe I didn't know, but like, I think as I got older and would go out in public, but like, I always kind of like thrived in confrontation.
Yeah.
So when I would get drunk, I'd make a confrontation and to see where it would, lead.
I would say when Justin was younger, he was just like a fun, like, chatty drunk.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't until we were probably like past 21 into 22, 23, where he kind of, like, I don't know, had more of an edge to him when he would get to that point.
Uh-huh.
And I guess, I don't know if you want to say like the last 2 or 3 years. It's not every time. Like, there's been plenty of times where he has gone out.
But how many times we're like, we're going out drinking and you're like, it's like, oh man, I don't know what Justin I'm going to get.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't, I don't know, maybe I'm used to it. I'm
Yeah.
probably like too close to Justin. Like I probably know it the best without realizing it.
Yeah.
I do remember the one Oktoberfest in town. He got like pretty drunk. We might have only been 20. And I just remember every time he walked towards me, I was like, oh no. But he wasn't like violent or jerk.
Yeah.
He was just so like, as the kids say, he was just sloppy. I was
Okay.
like, I don't want to be bothered with this.
Okay.
And which maybe isn't a good approach as a friend, but it was just, he was spilling drinks and, making himself not pleasant to be around.
Well, one of the sad things about this, besides it's making your liver work very hard,
Yep.
is the fact that you won't be able to remember all the things of the evening.
Yeah.
And that is the precious thing. That's the life you're living,
Mm-hmm.
and we all want to be our best selves.
Yeah.
So,
You want to lead life with love,
Yes. And so whatever happened this last week
Mm-hmm.
was really a gift to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And did you thank the person?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, sometimes you get a second chance, and if you get a second chance, you have to make it right. And like, if you
Yes.
don't, you better, if you don't get a second chance, you better just come out a better person. And regardless, I'm doing this for me. I mean,
I'm so glad.
I knew it was happening,
Yes.
and I knew the reason why, and this just proves to me. I'm like, oh, okay, let's make the change.
Because you lost control of yourself.
Yeah, I won't. I mean, sometimes I won't. I mean, I just don't know. Like, I'll be like, I don't like. I would just get.
Here's the thing.
I would just
Justin
find confrontation.
Justin's a chatty guy. He likes to talk, and he's got no problem talking to
And
anybody in the room.
Very quick-witted too.
Yeah,
Anybody
and I
like
love
drinking
it.
that's not good.
And Justin also has this comedy brain.
Yes.
Where
Yeah.
you got to like we were telling before, like you got to be able to read a room. So when you go up and you're sober and you tell someone a joke and they're not that into it, okay, let me back off. But when he's drinking,
I'll dig. I'll keep going.
He'll make
keep
the
going
joke
after somebody.
and
Keep going after.
and it just becomes quite annoying. But you were kind of saying something about these moments you don't remember.
Yes.
When I go to concerts, I rarely, well, not sure, like for years, I wouldn't even drink at concerts because, one, the drinks are very expensive.
Yes.
Two, if you're drinking, I don't know about people out there, if I'm drinking, I have to go to the bathroom.
Yes.
And then I'm missing the show. But I've gone to concerts with friends who don't even remember like the last part of the show.
Oh, what a loss.
Yeah, because they were drinking, and I was like, I don't want that, to be me. And as I've gone, I do, drink at shows or whatever. But I try not to. I don't want to black out because you want to remember what's going on.
You miss it. Exactly. Well, then this was a really good week.
Yeah, it was.
I
guess
know.
that's the best way.
Really
this was a really good week. That's that. I love the way you look at things, and that's why I mean, for you, like you didn't. I mean,
the first thing she said was, "Did you thank the person?"
Yeah, just thank the person.
To thank the person, to thank the people that hurt us.
Yeah.
And this is something that's difficult to come to terms with or understand. I've went through this. That's how I know. Like it took me a while, but these people who, and maybe you're in a situation where you hurt them, you get hurt back type of deal, but people that hurt us, like you can learn so much in that pain and grow so much from that, that you really do have to be like, I know so much more now.
Yeah.
Like, thank you for that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Like for me, like a lot of times too, like I've been more conscientious of like taking a step back, thinking through before I speak. But when I'm as soon as alcohol's in my system, I don't care. And when people pull me off the side, tell me I don't care. I'm gonna defend myself and what my reasoning, whatever I'm doing is wrong. I'm gonna defend that like it's the correct thing to do. And
see, I've never seen you like that. I can't imagine that's you.
And I'm happy you never did.
Me too.
Like if the young Fran was out there and saw me, she'd be like, Dan, kick his ass.
Yes.
Oh, if only.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, Justin did mention that. He's like, oh man, he's like, I'm gonna have to, show this side of me to Fran. Like Fran, like you just said, like I didn't know this, and
No.
But it's all part of having tea with you.
Yeah.
Good.
That's where I thought too. Like part of what I do to like escape to, like I write. So it's funny. I have I have all my stand up in one full. It's not a full. It's like this black box that I have. I keep all my dirty jokes. Everything goes in there. But then I have another section where it's all good stuff. It's all stuff, heartfelt moments that I've had. So I do log stuff. I don't write like a journal, but I do log. I do log and write concepts that I have. But I keep them separate. I keep the good separated from the bad.
Right.
So then I had this thought about like bitterness. Like if you have bitterness, you better hit it with a whisk to make it into something sweet or throw it into the furnace.
Oh.
Because if it's not good, send it to hell.
Heck?
Yeah,
I wrote that down. I was like, ooh, I'm like, that like just hit. And that's how I've been like,
yes.
I can be an asshole. Like that was part of me. And I want to shake that.
All right.
So.
Well, and
good. Feel really
we'll
good.
have to always remember that this happened around the summer solstice.
Yeah.
The tilt toward the sun. That's good.
On the hottest, well, not the hottest day, but the brightest day.
The brightest day.
Yeah. Wait, when was the solstice? Yeah,
The
yesterday.
21st, yes.
It was yesterday?
Yesterday.
It happened on, look at that. The brightest day. Dude, timing's everything, man.
This episode's coming out a week later.
Coming out a week later, yeah. And we have like the darkest day right now.
All that
So
light,
cloudy.
all that light to illuminate your flaws. Isn't that something?
Yeah. And we
Honestly.
talked about like, I love, because I was thinking about like our last episode, we talked about the window in the mirror.
Yes,
I got the mirror flipped right around on me.
you did.
Yeah. 100%. To see who I am.
That's right. You did, totally.
Mhm.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So
Well,
I feel good. I feel
Yeah.
happy. Like I'm able to like talk to you, you
Oh.
about it.
I'm so glad you feel that you can tell me.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't drink, I know a couple people who don't drink.
Right.
A couple people who are younger, and I know actually a lot of people who are older, who've had drug problems, drinking problem, whatever it is, and they've been
Yes.
sober for 10, 20, 30 years.
Right.
And they love it. So also, I'm gonna save some money not going to. I'll go to the bar and I'll just drink all their dirty tap water. I'm fine with that.
That the thought of having the mirror flipped on you so you could see yourself, how difficult, of
Yeah.
course, but also how nice that is, someone to tell you,
Yeah.
because we all have what we think our presence is
Mhm.
in the world.
Yeah.
And you knew yours was rocky at times, but
Yeah.
for someone to just like hold that right up, it's like,
And
this is who you are.
It was funny because like my therapist used that line on me, and like I haven't seen her. I only saw her like twice this year, not enough. Back in 2020, and yeah, it was 2020. I mean, I'm quoting like Howie Mandel. I put her on a new tax bracket. I saw her a lot. But yeah, I mean, she said that line to me. I was like, God damn it! I gotta beep out her name. But yeah, like it's good, and I like that's where I love like mental. I love talking things out and working it through. Right, like just
What exactly did she say? That the mirror bit?
yeah, that mirror bit. Yeah.
Very interesting.
So
Right.
I don't know what you guys got to talk about, but I'm willing to contribute to something else.
Oh, we're not done with you yet. No,
Yeah.
No.
no, I'm only joking. I don't know, Fran. Have we were kind of talking before that it takes you a little bit of time to run through the database of memories, but is there any moments you can think of for yourself, or maybe even with Dan or someone where you watched the mirror get flipped on them and you saw them grow because of that?
I have to think about that a little bit, because remember, we have lived in so many places
Yeah.
and our life has been so long. And then we would move on. So sometimes you don't get to see the rest of the story.
Mhm.
You don't know, you know?
Yeah, especially, well, I guess within the last 15 years, you can track just about anyone you come in contact with social media, but
Right. No, but alcohol is a very interesting drug, and we might as well call it what it is. It's people used to use it for medicine.
Mhm.
And some people still do. They try to treat themselves when they're having aches and pains. They'll have a drink and then they get relaxed and
It works.
then it works and they feel better.
Yep.
What
Sleep aids. Yeah.
Yeah, and what they don't realize is that if you do it all the time, your body starts to need it.
Yep.
And then you have to have a drink.
Yep.
And then that's when it becomes really dangerous for your body. And I know in Dan's family, his dad was like that. He reached that point where, well, they had a restaurant, and in the restaurant was a bar.
Yeah.
You know, and so you're exposed to alcohol all the time, and it's just been part of our culture. Fancy drinks and in our neat drinks, just over rocks. You know, everybody had their own drink, and they always knew what people liked to drink, and it was a very social thing. But the problem is there are people that don't know when to stop drinking. Yep. They just keep drinking, and they forget what they're drinking, and then all of a sudden they're ill. They can't pay their bills. You know, they lose a lot of money. They have car accidents. And the pancreas becomes ill. So I think it's a drug, and people forget that it's a drug.
Yeah, and that goes back to the culture, because where they say drugs and alcohol.
I know.
When alcohol
is a drug.
It's a chemical that alters your brain.
Yes.
And it doesn't. Yeah, we may tell ourselves it alters it for good, but it really doesn't.
Right.
You know, anything that's changing your brain chemistry can have negative effects. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of interesting, and this, I don't know, it's kind of been a topic for a couple of years now, is why is alcohol, you know, an accepted drug to use in public, but then something like marijuana isn't?
Yeah.
You know, they're
like,
well, because it's refreshing. I would say it's.
But I'm just, you know,
speaking as one who knows.
But I'm just saying, you know, why?
Yeah. Yes.
Why is it accepted? Why is governing bodies around the world accepting of alcohol, but not other, whether it's marijuana or mushrooms or whatever? Like, why?
Yes.
Why draw the line there? Why is this one accepted? I mean, you watch like Super Bowl ads and can't wait to see the beer ads. Like, why is that?
What show did Trump have? The Apprentice. Money, money, money.
Yeah, but you know they. Yeah. Do you remember? You know, big tobacco fighting to be able to advertise pretty much to children. You know, Joe Cool, Joe Camel, whatever.
Candy cigarettes for children.
Yeah, and they still have the candy cigarettes, but you know,
I smoked them.
Yeah,
I did. I don't know if it happened in my lifetime. I don't know if cigarette ads used to be on TV.
Oh, yes.
But now it's only in like print advertising, and now even the print advertising always has the huge warning.
Yes.
Where when you look at alcohol, it just has that one little "don't drink if you're pregnant."
Yes.
Yeah. Or on medication, don't operate vehicles. That's it.
Right. You know, and one instance I have to share is
just hold the mic a little closer.
Okay. When I was teaching, I also loved the ski area. You know, here we are. We're so lucky to live where we can ski. And so I signed up for ski club. And I think it was our second trip over there. And I was watching the kids on the bunny slope. And I wasn't paying attention. Somebody was coming down very fast and could not stop because they had been in the bar drinking. So you can ski and drink all you want. Mm-hmm. And then you don't know how to stop. And people come over there thinking they can learn to ski in one day, but they have to have a drink so that they get more relaxed and they're not so
confidence.
afraid.
It's confidence.
Yeah.
Liquid confidence.
And so this person that ran into me, you know, felt very sorry, but you could smell the alcohol. And I ended up having to wear my right arm in a sling for a long time because it really hurt my shoulder. And of course, writing on the board as a teacher, I can't write with my left hand. So it really changed my life for a while. But I've thought about it a lot. And when they advertise on the radio for coming to ski here, they always say, come and ski. You can learn to ski in one day. Oh, no, you can't. You know, and then the bar is there and it's open and people stop and drink and then they go back up and they get up there too high, but yet they still have to come down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so, I guess it softens their fall when they're tumbling down the mountain, right?
It's really
it's taking the medication before you need it.
Yeah. But, you know, one of my sons was married to a lovely person who happened to be in the wine industry. Mm-hmm. And so they really were teaching me how important wine is to the taste of food. You know, However, wine makes me sleepy. That is the way I react to alcohol.
Mhm.
So I'm really not any fun at the table with a lot of wine. and then I grew older and I needed meds that say no alcohol.
Yeah.
And so that's why you always see me with water.
Yeah.
I have to drink a lot of water every day. And I do. So alcohol has never really been in my life, personally, that it's a problem,
Mhm.
Let's just to take a trip down memory lane. What was alcohol like back when you were in college at Florida State?
Well, what year was the prohibition?
That is
Unbelievable.
not nice.
I had to do it.
Beep that out.
Okay. No, well, that's where it seemed like kids went to college to learn to drink.
Oh, yeah.
They were away from their parents, and maybe they had had a little beer somewhere, but then they came to college and they got to try all these different things at parties, at the frat parties. So, I saw a lot of it, but as I told you, if I had a sip of alcohol, it always made me sleepy. So,
Even when you were...
Oh, yeah. I just never, that's my personal body. It doesn't like alcohol.
And then we just got asked then also, Dan was a big, big man.
Oh, yes. And he grew up in that family where his dad...
Could he drink? Did he drink? Could he drink? Like when he was in college, I could picture him pounding back a few beers.
He could.
Yeah.
Yes, he could drink. And he drank, I think, even in high school because he was often working in the restaurant. He'd be there and, and he would be having a beer and talking to everybody. And, they played touch football and had beer on the side. And,
Can't tackle, but...
Wait, you're playing flag football. you got get some PBR on the sideline?
Yeah.
I grew up in the wrong era.
But he was always really careful because he had watched his father.
Yeah.
And then his dad died at 52 because he was diabetic and still drinking. And that happened, a blood clot. Yes.
Wow. That just shows the power of addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's like this substance, if you continue to consume it, is going to, kill you. People, whether it's alcohol, cigarettes, and they just can't give it up.
That's right.
That's the power of addiction.
Yeah, well, you can always have, we called it fuzzy water with a slice of lemon or lime.
So it's funny you say that. I remember, you had a soda stream,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
So you used to make those it was like the seltzer water.
Yes,
and you just put twist of lime or lemon in it.
Right.
I was never a big sparkling water person.
Uh-huh.
And then one of the jobs I had a few years ago, they would always have cases of it. And I started drinking it, and it wasn't Pellegrino. It was like a Poland Spring, whatever it was. And I kind of got turned on to it, and throughout the years I love I'm always drinking the Canada Dry ones. I love the Polar ones, but I love I could just
the
seltzer water's fine.
Right.
I'm okay with that.
Well, our youngest son now has the seltzer maker because I don't make
It's
that.
the best.
Yeah, well, I don't make it. Dan is the one who liked it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I buy seltzer water. So I always have some in case somebody wants something like that. And Dan loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hear it's not bad. It was funny. I'm probably so gassy from drinking all this stuff, but it actually helps your digest. It helps move things around down there.
It does.
Yeah, I'm so balanced down there.
You get balanced in your head before you get
I
balanced
know,
in your
right?
gut, man.
Yeah. My gut, my body, for the most part, it's pretty healthy.
Good. We want to keep you healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
right.
for sure.
Well, then it was a good week.
Yeah.
Truly
Good week.
good.
I just want to say I appreciate you sharing that with us and whoever's listening or watching out there in the world, because you're not the only person to deal with this.
Yeah.
No.
I just I have a name, and I want to have a good reputation, and a lot of the stuff that I've done, I've had times where I should have been fired from my job. And knock on wood, I wasn't, and I don't know in any other workplace how you could get away with that.
Yeah.
And I did, and maybe the fact that I got away with it made me be all right, I could keep doing this. I could keep getting sloppy for however much longer.
Right.
I think all these times in the past, you quote unquote lost face in these instances, which is embarrassing, and your reputation's important to you. That's who you are. That you are your name and what you've done. but you lost more than face this time around.
Yeah.
And that was the reality
Yep.
check that you really needed.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Write that down. Whoa.
What was you lost? Yeah.
We'll transcribe it
Yeah.
later.
Transcribe it later. It's fine.
Right.
Well, I don't know. Do you want to?
Yeah, I don't know what else other topics you guys brought. I just finally kind of figured pick up from like last week and just cover anything that came up.
Yeah. Well, I
Some Fran mail.
got one little bit of Fran mail. Someone, and this is something we'll have to discuss more, maybe at a future episode. They wish that the conversation around that line, "God is a filler word for what we want our existence to mean."
Oh,
Someone reached out to me and said, "I wish you guys talked about that further."
oh.
So
Yeah, I'm going to write that down. All right. Give me the direct quote because I'm going to think about it. All right.
God,
Yeah,
How do you spell that?
I got it.
Kevin, is a filler word
Yeah, a filler word. Okay.
for what
For what
we want
we want
our existence
our existence. Okay.
to mean.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to think about that.
Yeah, Fran is
lot.
gonna.
You've got the most beautiful handwriting too. It's just like it's so elegant. That's
You got good handwriting.
I do too, but it's not like that's like
All right. And remember, we said that the word God is different in lots of places.
Yeah.
There are other words for God. Okay. And so we need to think about that. And calling it just a filler word for something like that there's something that you're seeking, there's a hole in your heart.
Well, I think for me, it's just,
What?
what does somebody want their overall existence to mean? And we are raised with religion where there's a almighty being that looks down on you and judges you and grants you miracles and wishes.
yeah. I got a rap sheet up there when I get to the gates.
Well, maybe we haven't really discovered what God is.
Yes, Fran. Yes, Fran. Yes.
That's what I've been in search of all my life.
I think I told you this, and I told a few
Yeah.
people, but I was, I like to go for walks, whether if it's the weekend, I'll go in the morning or after
Mhm.
dinner. And a couple of times it would kind of rain and sprinkle on me a little bit. And for some reason, I enjoyed that. And I would tell myself that walking in the rain will get me closer to God.
Yes.
And I don't know why
Yes.
I thought that. And I have no idea how near or far I am from whatever God is.
Yes. Well, we're just beginning to understand this molecular thing that's going on. It's that tiny, but it permeates everything that we are. We're made of what? How many billions of cells? Just think about it.
We're
And
so complex.
we are
It's
so
ridiculous.
life itself is so complex, and so we have missed the point, I think,
and
in so many ways.
and we're like the only ones who can understand how complex life is. Like sometimes I wish I was a deer so I could just be dumb. You know what I mean? Like sometimes being smart, I feel like, it's just too much.
Yeah.
The curse of knowledge.
Yeah.
Right. But I still feel that I'm getting very close to understanding it. I really do. I'm seeking it. I've looked in so many places. I will read anything. I visited in so many churches and synagogues, and I've just been all over.
You're more about you're about the more. It's the climb. It's the search. That's,
it is. It is.
Yeah, I like that. And I always
Yes.
like the climb. And anything
Yes.
you do in life, it's about the journey. And some of those journeys you take, you eventually get to where you're going, right?
Right.
And then after that, it's like, where am I going next? You better find a climb to somewhere else.
Right.
And at the moment you top off, right? It's like, all right,
Right.
well, I'm done. Like
Right.
that's where you become kind of stale, stagnant. You
Right.
stop growing. So I think for your search, it's like it's never end. It's a never ending search.
No.
So it keeps you,
Right.
on your toes.
This kind of goes without saying to the listeners out there, but Fran is we can beep this out if you want. Fran's 83 years old.
That's right.
And
83 and a
no,
half.
We know, you said it because we were talking about the viewers called you cute, and you're like, for 83, you know,
And-
people know.
And at that age, you have not lost your sense of wonder.
Never.
And
Curious.
how many people, Justin and I's age, that are just kind of just turned off or turned low, and
They're fine at the frequency life goes.
yeah, they're not really wondering anymore.
I don't understand what happened to them that caused that. See, when you think about a little child and you watch a child is very curious. They're looking at everything. If you look at animals, they're the same way. Watch them. They are so thrilled to go for a walk and look around and sniff around. And so what is it that caused that person to stop being curious? And I've always been, I continue to be. And there're just some things I really long to know because, I'm not going to always live on this plane. I am going to go on living on another one.
But you're going to be here for a long, long time.
Well,
so
yeah,
plenty of time to figure this out, Fran.
Yeah.
Yes. But you will laugh at this, but when I see pictures of trees where they are growing just on rocks, and I think about the trees I have planted, and I gave them everything I thought they needed and watered them and fed them, and they just are drooping and they're not happy. But yet that tree that was just planted by the wind or by a bird that dropped the seed, and that seed inside that tiny seed was something that said, I'm going to live. If I have to live on a rock, I'm going to live. And the little root comes out and somehow it attaches and it goes on to grow and it becomes a whole tree and it lives a long time. What was so different about that seed?
Maybe it had a purpose, maybe there's.
I'm going to live.
Yeah.
And it's like I see that too in kids. I used to look around the room and there were some kids that looked like they had lights shining right on them. They were brighter in every way. And then other kids that looked like they were tired and maybe half asleep. And as a teacher, I was always trying to rescue all of them. That's why I stayed after school so much. And
that's why you're still teaching now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, that's why I'm still in search of all these things. And that's what I see when I look out and I see that tree that is able to live in spite of having nothing. What is it that happened there?
I mean, I'm going to use it, as far as like related to a person's like willpower, right? I mean, anything that you've gone through, like for most of the time, someone else has gone through it and everybody handles it different. And some either, embrace it or some, just let it defeat them.
Well, you think about every single person has a different personality. Identical twins. They may look the same, but their personalities are different. Every horse that you have ever met or ridden, they all have their own personalities. And I don't scuba dive, but I have family that my youngest son scuba dives a lot. He said all the fish have personalities. And the octopus that is so brilliant that you can't keep them in their tank. They get out of everything. Just think what God must be if God created all of this. See, we don't really understand. That's why when you're talking about the person who lives up there and watches everything we do and answers our prayers sometimes the way we would like, we don't understand God yet.
Yeah, and I like that. It's like everything's created different, but everything has a mind of its own, right? There's no one mind that is the same, whether you're talking from bugs to, dolphins, whatever, whales, whatever. So you have, right, like the bee's job is to pollinate, right? And you go from every aspect of life, and it's like you look at humans as a collective. What is our sole purpose together?
Yes. How about together? Individually, I've always said, there's no one like you. You
Yes.
are the only one. And you arrived at exactly the right time. And you are here to do a particular thing with your life. Be your best self. That is your goal, is to be your best self.
Yeah.
And when you do that, everything gets better. And so we're all kind of like raising up to another way of living, and we haven't reached it yet, because look around. You can tell things aren't going real well right now.
Yeah.
But we can all be better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's where I'm kind of like, I like that this is kind of the topic of the conversation. I told Kevin, I'm like, I want to be like being a better version of you, like being a better version of yourself. And that's kind of my that was my, thought process was this week. I'm like, I gotta, be, I mean, as much as I talk about all the good, there's, the bad side of me. It's like, let me get that out, let me, be, start like fresh. But I think a lot of it, like being that, like you always say, it's like people you surround yourself with, and everybody's there for a specific amount of time.
Yeah.
And, nature determines that time. You don't know when that time's going to end, whether it's, they are with you till the end, whether they leave your life, whether they, die, whatever it is, you are like, or they're just passing by. Everybody serves a purpose in your life. Even if it's a brief moment, they were there for a reason.
Everyone is your teacher.
Yeah.
Truly. And I mentioned earlier tonight, one of the things I used to always teach my students was shared inquiry. And that's why I used to, this is one of the things I used to use, and I used to put something on it so half the class could only say one part of.
And what's
the
in
other
front of you
half.
right now, Fran?
Okay.
It's a wooden.
A wooden elephant.
Wooden elephant.
Okay. All right. But with shared inquiry, you can only really know what an elephant is if everyone who sees from where they are tells you what they see about the elephant. Because you can't know, if you only saw the back of an elephant, you would not really be able to recognize an elephant at the zoo. But if you saw the front, you might, because this is always so prominent, but you would never know what the back of the elephant really looked like. So you'd never really understand what this is about. So anything that is happening, until you listen to other sides, you cannot arrive at any sense of truth. That's why another thing, why we're all here.
Yep.
That's why we're here, to help each other see truth.
Yeah. Truth can be painful.
Yes. Yes.
Can you repeat what you just said? Was it not until you see something from all sides?
From all sides. Can you arrive at some sense of truth?
Okay.
And even that you may not have enough people looking and answering and thinking, because what you hear from everyone else still has to come into you. And then you look at it and you add to that and make it your own.
Yeah.
It's very hard to ever imagine anything that was just truly your idea and not told to you or shown to you or shared with you at all. You thought it. What would be your original thought? Nobody else ever helped you get there. Have you ever come up with an idea that was just purely, absolutely purely your own?
If I have, I don't know if I was aware of it. I've definitely have said like something where I'm just like, I don't think that sentence has ever been said before.
But your poetry, you write poetry, so I would put that in
that
nobody.
That's right.
Yeah.
That which you truly create. Music, that no one has ever played that song.
Art. Essentially, that's
nobody has ever. Okay, those special gifts, those are really special. And I think maybe that's part of what our purpose is too, is to bring out that gift that is only purely yours. Because almost everything that you think is bouncing off what you've heard or seen.
Yeah, pretty much every thought you've had has been because of the where you've been and who you've been around. And like,
Yes.
I mean, so you
Right.
comprehend things differently, but like, I like the thought of like, I mean, you being a teacher, right? Let's say you're teaching a class and there's 4 kids, right? They're
Right.
all, the same age. They all sit down the front. You all tell them to do the same thing. Some of them are going to do that same thing, but they're going to do it in a different way. Some of them might not pay attention. Like everybody, and those little fractions of moment that goes by changes you.
Yes.
Sets you on a course to becoming yourself.
Right. Right. But every day can be different and can be beautiful if we are open to it every day. So that should be our challenge this summer. Let's all see if we can't find some new answers and do some special things, some creative things.
Yeah.
And
maybe just daily try to find a beautiful moment in each day.
yes.
Find the good and be the good.
I love that. Find the good and be the good.
And then try to think of original ideas, original thoughts.
Yes.
This way we can be ourselves, which you have preached every episode since we started. The importance of that. You're here. You're your unique self, and you need to flourish in that. Embrace it and go with it.
Right.
You were talking, Justin, before about those boxes you have. And are you saying you have like one box of just like memories?
No, so I have one box where it's all my comedy stuff, and like a lot of my stuff now is on my phone. It's just because it's that I call it my black box, and if I ever die, it needs to be burned. That's meant for the stage. But I have another section. It's not in a box, but it's in my closet. It's all just different notebooks, folders stacked up, and it's all whether it's ideas I've had for books where I've started writing stuff. Or maybe life experiences and how I viewed things and like conflicts in my life, or writing things at hard times. So I don't know the words.
Have you ever gone back and read it?
I've gone back and I mean it's funny because some of the stuff I'll have like 10 pages where all those 10 pages are in order, right? It makes sense. And then I have other times I might have a random thought that I wrote down and it's a one-liner, but it's all it's pertains to I guess bettering yourself, or whether it's something that had an impact on my life. But I mean, it's I last time I went back and read, I want to say it was probably almost a year ago, but I add to it. But it is funny when you go in there, you're like, oh my God, like what, like, and you don't even remember like that moment. It's not even real, but then you pick it up, you're like, oh my God. And then you can expand on it and go and view what your work and change it on the fly. And I love that. It's like an iterative process where it never changes. So
yeah, I got pretty much all the poetry I've ever handwritten I've gotten in a box. And every once in a while I'll flip through that, and there's times I can remember exactly where I was, when something came to me, and it is it's trippy to go back.
Yeah,
for sure.
But it's fun. That's the good thing about, like, I guess whatever you want to call it, writing, journaling, whatever it is, it's there and it's there for you, and you can do whatever you want with it. You can turn it into whatever, outlet you seem fit, and I have a lot of cool, I believe everyone's a philosopher in their own sense, right? Like everyone has, like you're saying, these unique ideas. And I had like the thing I was thinking about with like the bitterness and the whisk, and that hit me. I'm like, oh my gosh, shit. Like that, like it just like resonated with me. So I write that down. And I have a lot of things like that. And I eventually want to turn it into something.
Good.
Not sure what or in what fashion yet, but I've got so many projects that I'm working on right now. I have to take, one step at a time. Like right now I'm getting back into like, my craft of like woodworking.
I'm glad. Art. I'm glad.
And so I want to put my focus on that before I touch anything. I want to, take care of that and, put out some really, really cool stuff.
Good.
Wonderful. How are we doing on time?
Yes. How is our time?
Right on the sweet spot, man. You have like a biological clock of like 50 minutes, 45 minutes.
We did a lot of Fran mail last week. I think I'm gonna I'm gonna hold off on this Fran mail
Okay.
for next week. Fran, I just got one question, and maybe you can help listeners out there. How, because you were kind of talking about before plants surviving in unexpected places.
Yes.
And I think you were kind of thinking about the plants that you've given so much love and nourishment to that didn't survive. How do you handle a plant, a flower, an herb not growing in your garden? Is it difficult for you to accept that it didn't grow? Like, how do you, the loss of a plant, does that?
That's just a bad seed, Kevin.
Yes. And I really have this thing about plants anyway. I name my plants. You know, if somebody gives me a plant, I usually name it after that person. Like, that's Neil over there behind you. Neil gave me that. But I treat them with great respect. I always feel that somehow they're alive just like I'm alive. And so I try to be very nice to them. So in the garden, when I have like so many now that they are propagating on their own, and sometimes they jump out of their beds and they're over there, and I really talk to them about that. That's not where you should be, you know, and I try to get them back. But when I plant something, I really want it to live. And if it doesn't come up, I am bothered by it. And I think about it and I think, well, somehow or other, it doesn't want to live here. There's something else in the play that is bothering it, and I don't understand it. So there's always something to learn. And I'm getting better, though, at plants. I used to give them too much water. Don't do that because you can drown them, you know. So
Waterboarding your plants.
Yes, and you don't realize it. So I am better, but someday I will tell you about the plants that were tested and could recognize a murderer. I will tell you about that on another time.
Cliffhanger.
Yes. I think you'll find it interesting.
Whoa.
Yeah. So,
detective plants.
Yes. And that started back in the 60s. It was in the 60s. So look how long it's been. And so since the 60s, that's when I sort of woke up to plants. Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well,
I woke up knowing I was coming here. And I gotta say, this has been, I said it last week, like, this has been a lot of fun. Like, I really feel like this is, I don't know, this podcast is an outlet for us to just, you know, really, like, every time I come, you grow in, like, in the conversations. I feel like, at least for me, are rich. So,
I love it.
Guys.
I love it. It's the best thing.
Thank you for sharing. And I'm sure people are going to listen and relate. And I'm going to do my best as your friend to support you on that, you know, and not put you in situations that make you uncomfortable, you know.
Just always have beers and, like, funnels. You're like, hey.
Can you stop on the liquor store out of here? No, you know, I got to do my part just like you're doing your part. And Fran, stop giving Justin shots when he gets here. And
yes.
and
depends on the shots.
Yeah. But no, thank you for sharing that. And then Fran, you were ripping pretty good on finding truth and meaning. That was a nice segment. I'm looking forward to re-listening to that. So everyone out there, you should know where to find us. You got something else you want to add?
I was just gonna say, I mean, be a better person.
Yes. Until next week.
And be yourself.
Yes.
Be yourself. Be a better person.
Right.
Tea with Fran podcast on Instagram. Tea with Fran podcast on YouTube. Tea with Fran mail at gmail.com.
We'll fly up the little logo in the video. They'll see it.
Yeah. Write into us. Connect with us. You know, if any of this touches your heart, don't hesitate. I mean, if you listen, the feedback, I always like to bring it to the table and let everyone else hear it. You know, it's important. I enjoy it. I know everyone else
do
does,
too.
So,
yes.
Everyone out there, like Justin said, be good and take care.
Good night.
Until next time.